and term activities. Those are coming later today, so you're on, that's fine with us too.
So I can do 4 hydration snacks.
Checking. And Reed, we see a nominal connection to the WAP. Everything looks good. Thanks for letting us know anyway.
Acronym breakdown for you. WAP stands for Wireless Access Point. The crew is continuing to set up for the Ox suit demo. That's Orion Crew Survival System.
Hey everyone, geophysicist Fawn Burns here. We have a very active sun right now that I think is about to have a big solar flare. This coming from Sunspot Group 44. Hey everyone, geophysicist Fawn Burns here. We have a very active sun right now that I think is about to have a big solar flare. This coming from Sunspot Group 4409. You see a big solar flare right there. That was an M-class flare. I think we're about to get something bigger from this Sunspot Group, which has just recently grown quite a bit on the sun. It's quite dense and compact and twisted and clustered up, and that is a pretty good sign that we have a significant solar flare and maybe even a coronal mass ejection coming our way, because this has all happened just in the past 36 hours. And we have 4 astronauts right now headed to the moon. So they are now inbound to the moon. They'll reach there in about 3 days, meaning that they've left the main protective confines of Earth's magnetic field. They are still in what's known as the magnetotail. The solar wind pushes Earth's magnetic field, compresses it at the front, elongates out the back, but it's not as strong of a protective shield or force field, you could say, as it is closer into the planet. So they are experiencing right now a lot more solar radiation than normal. We can see that here with our proton flux. We did not reach a radiation storm, but we see that our greater than 10 mega electron volt protons here, this red line, has increased about 25 times over baseline, because this is an order of magnitude scale right there. So every one is a 10x increase. So normal is about 0.2 for our flux values, and then we see that we went up to about 5, and right now it's clicking in at 4. So if you get to 10, that's when you enter into an S1 radiation storm. So they are already receiving a lot more proton radiation from the sun as a result of some pretty gnarly solar filament launches that we had. We can look at that here with our 304 angstrom view of the sun. Check this out. We had first this big filament launch from there. That's not Earth directed. This one was. Check that out. Whoosh! That's a big plasma filament launch, and it had a pretty nice shock wave to it. There was a full halo that launched from that, though most of the plasma density is going to be traveling ahead of Earth's orbit. We can look at our Halo CME model for that. We'll see it again right up there. So that is coming in, expected to hit in about 12 hours. So here's the full synopsis, basically, is that A, the astronauts have already been flying in space during a G1 to G2 geomagnetic storm. So we've already been hit by a solar storm. They launched under those conditions. They've been experiencing that. They've also been experiencing high-tin radiation from the space environment as a result of this event here. Though we did not reach an S1 proton storm, we got close. So they've been receiving more of this solar energy already. Thankfully, the even higher energy protons, like greater than 100, greater than 500 mega electron volts, have not gone up, because that would be a very serious risk. Now we have this new sunspot rotating directly into view. Here it is, 4409. It's probably about to do a big solar flare, very likely a coronal mass ejection directly to us because it's in the strike zone. We see the growth there, again, very compact and densely clustered. And then we also have a sun grazer comet right now, soon to perform its perihelion around the sun, probably will disintegrate, maybe even impact the sun. That's all happening in the next 34 hours. Let me show
varying focal lengths of subjects such as the Earth and the Moon to evaluate the being a cook, take share much as much as possible throughout this flight day to allow us to share their journey with the world. To show us a wastewater dump. So you heard Commander Reed Wiseman reporting that they don't necessarily hear those wastewater dumps, but that they do see them. So you're getting a live look outside the windows of the Orion spacecraft as they conduct that wastewater dump.
Integrity, Houston, with a status and a timeline. Tell us.
This type of motion doesn't damage the spacecraft, but the solar array wings are locked and parked to keep them from objective. Victor is also USA or Canadian Space
You watched animation.
In almost seeming desperation to keep the government's official story about the 1960s and 70s moon landing alive, Glenn Beck asks astrophysicist Hugh Ross if there's any proof that we did go to the moon. Check this out.
So a lot of people, and maybe you can help in this, a lot of people say we never even went to the moon the first time. I find that amazing, but people actually believe it, and they say, it's because this radiation belt, we can't get through the radiation belt and all this stuff.
Yeah, the radiation belt and all this stuff, the dangerous radiation that would destroy your electronics and kill everybody inside of a tin can coated with aluminum foil, traveling thousands of miles per hour through space. Those radiation belts or whatever. Totally minimizing a huge factor.
Did we go to the moon? And does it matter?
Yeah, I actually got to watch the moon landing live on television.
Oh, you watched it on television, did you, Hugh? Well, Buzz Aldrin, who actually claims to have been there, says, no, you didn't.
No, you didn't.
I don't want to be presumptuous here. I can call you Buzz, okay?
That's a legal name, passport,
Okay.
driver's license.
And I am Uncle Coney tonight.
Go.
Well, let's talk about this, because this is fascinating. I remember very clearly, I think anybody who was alive at the time does. I remember my parents waking me up, and we went down and we watched you guys land on the moon.
No, you didn't.
What?
Because there wasn't any television. There wasn't anybody taking a picture. You watched animation.
What?
Because there wasn't any television. There wasn't anybody taking a picture. You watched animation. See, you associated what you saw with...
I have very hazy memories.
I know.
Well,
Oh, it was animation, says Buzz Aldrin. So just to recap, Hugh Ross says he watched the moon landing on TV.
I actually got to watch the moon landing live on television.
And Buzz Aldrin, who's probably more of an expert than Hugh Ross, says, no, you didn't.
No, you didn't.
What?
Because there wasn't any television. There wasn't anybody taking a picture. You watched animation.
So Glenn Beck and Hugh Ross say the moon landing was real because Hugh watched it on television, and Buzz Aldrin says it was animation.
You watched animation.
Did we go to the moon? And does it matter?
Yeah, I actually got to watch the moon landing live on television when I was much younger. And what really thrilled me was watching Buzz Aldrin and Neil Armstrong putting up a laser reflector. There's now 3 laser reflectors on the moon. Physicists beam laser beams off them every single day. And it's because of those laser reflectors that the Apollo astronauts put on the moon that we're able to test theories of gravity to a degree we've never been able to do before. So somebody put those laser reflectors there.
Well, probably aliens. I'm just saying. It really
Astronauts moving in slow motion is another hallmark of the Apollo TV footage. There is no evidence at all of any astronaut making a leap or a jump anywhere near a height commensurate with 1/6 G possibilities. But if they were actually simulating EVAs on Earth, they would then need help with their bulky, heavy weight suits and backpacks in order to achieve the visual effect of moving around easily in lunar gravity. So enter wire supports. This is a tried and tested way of relieving weight from performers, or even flying an actor. Here's a sequence from one of our own productions.
Excuse me, will I need a car?
Here in this Apollo 14 footage, you can see a ping. A momentary glint. And again, run slowly. And once more. There are other examples too. This one is from Apollo 17 during the flag scene. You can see the ping at the top of the frame. In this footage from Apollo 16, we have telltale evidence of a slightly floating or dangling effect at the jump salute location. It's as if the weight is being taken off the astronaut's feet just a second or so too soon. Compare that sequence with an obvious rehearsal rig. The dangling effect is very evident. And here again, from the same mission, Apollo 16, we have an astronaut who is about to get up.
Give me a hand. Okay, here we go.
Let me give you a hand, he says.
There goes bag. There goes another bag. Coming.
Look at it again. The astronaut is getting up with the wire taking the weight, relieving him of 5/6 of the Earth's gravity. A magic trick? 5/6 of the getting up with the wire taking the weight, relieving him of getting up with the wire taking the weight, relieving him of 5/6 up with the wire taking the weight, relieving him of 5/6 of the Earth's gravity. A magic trick? No, just the help of a wireman. This is a slow-motion jump that would have been seen live on TV. And here it is at normal speed. The well-rehearsed, pre-recorded material was apparently slowed down by 50% when we saw it on TV. And yes, we've done the necessary work to establish that percentage.
smell you when it's not that fucking fragrant. Some mad gypsy more that's slightly tipsy free as a bird without a word. He's going to turn up in his filthy nipsy. And there's one look-case always in your personal space, and he's blabbering and jabbering his shit breath in your face. He's a no-tooth bruiser, dipsomatic boozer, crackhead, smackhead, a stick of meth, common death, full-time loser. A red light in the door used to indicate a horror. It was an immoral profession, so discretion was the key. It was all saying no more. Now if you get a bone, you can openly get blown. It's all sucking and meth cooking in the squalid motherfucking fucking no-go zone. Well, it's all buggery and buggery and muggery and druggery and gimping and pimping and so fucking buggery. Well, as you say that I'm lucky, it could easily be me. Well, I'm sus, cause if it was, I can safely say that I look at gentlemanly. Slash contact with bangers and mash, cause as if you fucking feel good enough, then in the hotel you go for a splash. To keep the stove afloat, gonna need a bigger boat. I can sympathize with that, you watch the odds and disregard this with every vote. Perpetually annoyed, bullshit after Screwjob fucking tempted Cleveland to believe he was a saint who never tainted his blood with opioids. Bring them back from the beyond. But with fentanyl, you know, it killed so many that the men is in a magic wand. And the gangs are going A-pass and murder, theft and rape. This obsession with progression turned that pretty, pretty city into a hellscape. They defunded the cops and the crime never stops. So if you had that, the local fellas on your empty shelves and closed down shops. Anti-Pharaoh one let the barrel of a gun, cause the junkies and protesters, cause the potential investors to the tail and run. I remember a day when a certain man called Power Apple County bullies kids and pulled his punks away.
It's a classic 70s thriller, but it concerns a cop who's out there to stop a truly sadistic killer. Clint plays the titular Harry, the cop with a 44, who forges a path between justice and wrath with scant regard for the law. Andy Robinson as Scorpio should have won an Oscar that year, because his performance was so electrifying the film almost killed his career. Imagine being so good at acting that you actually make people sick. I've only seen him in 2 other films, Hellraiser and Sharon Barrick. So Harry tries to expedite things because he knows this is something unique. He knows that this is a new kind of monster. He knows that this is a new kind of freak. And he knows the killer's identity. And he knows the killer's address. But his superiors constantly fucking go on about due fucking process. Now Harry don't care what the press says, because he knows this punk has to die. Harry's a real man with morals. Harry's a true stand-up places, and he disregards every rule. And in the tradition of every great western, it ends up two guys in a duel. Now Harry recycles his monologue, did he shoot 6 shots to 5? And Scorpio giggles and goes for his gun so certain that he will survive. But Harry's got one left this time, so Scorpio just ends up wrecked. The credits roll, and as a whole, the film is simply fucking perfect. Now when the time critics disliked it, and they dismissed the film as far right, it seems that some things never change, you know. Film critics will always talk shine. So the studio under pressure, with a pitiful show of remorse, got Cimino to pen a sequel, the apology magnum force.
Hey, they are totally, definitely, 100%. Hey, they are totally, definitely, 100% on their way to the moon. Trust me, bro, it's happening.
Well, we are still technically in Earth's orbit, although we did just do our translunar injection burn, and so we are definitely 100% on our way to the moon. The lunar gravity will take over in a couple of days here and start pulling us around the far side. At the end of our translunar injection here about an hour and a half ago, we just really looked at each other, and I know the United States has done this 1968 through 1972, but this is unbelievable that we can put our minds to something and pull it off. This is an unbelievable technical accomplishment.
I agree. It is unbelievable. It's unbelievable that we spent $93 billion on this program, and this is the audio and video feed that we're getting from this little trip to the moon. We're totally going to the moon, though. It's 100% totally heading in that direction, and it's 2026, and this is the kind of imagery they give us. They give us blued out screens. They give us blurry footage, if you want to call it footage. We don't get a live video feed of Orion pulling away from Earth and approaching the moon. We get these static shots. This one right here from NASA's astronaut Reed Weissman. Anything look funny to you on this globe Earth here? Is any part of this photoshopped? Is this an untouched, unfiltered, raw image, NASA? Are you going to claim that? And listen to fake stream CIA infiltrated Operation Mockingbird MK Ultra Media go out of their way to try to convince us that, yeah, Artemis 2 and Orion is really heading to the moon. Just take our word for it.
This morning, the Artemis 2 crew is getting closer and closer to the moon, farther and farther from Earth. The 4 astronauts are now more than halfway to the moon. They blasted off on the historic mission Wednesday. They are scheduled to fly around the moon on Monday before returning to Earth late next Friday night, and we are getting a front row seat to their mission. On Friday, they released these images of Earth and the moon from their Orion spacecraft.
Wait, if we have a front row seat and we've already paid the admission fee, $93 billion ain't nothing to sneeze at. Why are we just getting static photographs and not a live video feed. Now, I've heard the excuse that, well, the video feed takes up bandwidth and we don't have the valuable bandwidth. They use bandwidth to interview the astronauts inside the cockpit with things floating around. Why can't they take that same camera while they're talking and point it out the window during that live stream? If bandwidth is a problem, then use that bandwidth that you're using right there to show us the Earth from Orion. Why don't you do that?
Mark Strassman is tracking the mission from the Johnson Space Center in Houston. Mark, good morning.
Good morning, Adriana. Yeah, it's been something to watch, hasn't it? This crew is just having a remarkable run.
It actually has been nothing to watch. You're not giving us anything to watch. Video feeds you are giving us are pathetic. They did way better in 1969.
Capsule that has aced its flight test, a moon that just keeps getting bigger ahead of them, and amazing images from space.
Planet Earth as seen by the crew of Artemis 2.
Are they being freaking serious here? Look at what is it? Is that Africa? Look at the size of Africa right there. How does anything else fit on this globe?
A first for human eyes in more than a half century.
Trust us, you look amazing. You look beautiful, no matter where you're from or you know what you look.
Trust us.
Like we're all one people.
Houston is go for TLI.
A final engine burn Thursday evening called TLI, translunar injection, hurtled the capsule out of orbit and onto the moon.
With this burn to the moon, we do not leave Earth. We choose it.
After a 4-day trip, a moment of mission
Look beautiful, no matter where you're from or you know what you look.
Trust us.
Like we're all one people.
Houston is go for TLI.
A final engine burn Thursday evening called TLI, translunar. Lunar injection hurtled the capsule out of orbit and onto the moon.
With this burn to the moon, we do not leave Earth. We choose it.
After a 4-day trip, a moment of mission drama will come Monday night, the lunar flyby. The Orion capsule will come within roughly...
This is better than the footage that they've been giving us, because they've been giving us choppy video footage, static, touched up photos, and a whole bunch of animation.
4,000 miles of the moon's surface. Artemis 2 will have traveled farther from Earth than anyone in space history.
The lunar flyby, why does it matter? What do you hope to get out of it?
We hope to get boatloads of money, but those boats won't be floating through the Strait of Hormuz.
Back to the moon, we're going to stay there, right? And so this is the first step towards that. We'll obviously build upon that.
Anticipation's building inside the capsule.
It was really great to wake up this morning and look out the window and see the full moon off the front of the vehicle. There's no doubt where we are heading right now. And I really appreciate all the work down there.
Destination ahead.
Let's just go back. Look, watch this. They could take that high resolution camera right there that they're using to record the cockpit crew, take it to the nearest window, and show us the moon or the Earth that they're talking about. But they don't do it. Why?
And see the full moon off the front of the vehicle. There's no doubt where we are heading right now. now, and really appreciate all the work down there.
There's no doubt where we're heading right now. They just keep trying to convince us that this is exactly what they're doing. Hey, what you see, the stories you've heard, the official story that you've got, that's what's going on.
Destination ahead. That small dot to the right, drawing closer by the second.
I can take a better picture of the moon from Earth with my cell phone during the day.
This crew is now more than 150,000 miles from Earth. Think about that for a second. And with each passing second, they get further away from the rest of us.
Mark,
Adriana?
it's just hard to wrap your head around it. When I left my house this morning, the moon was out. I looked up and I felt what people must have felt during the Apollo era, knowing that there were Americans, there were humans on their way to the moon at that moment. Mark, I understand you're also going to speak to the astronauts later today. What are you most excited to ask them?
Well, it's first of all, I mean, think about that. I'm going to talk to astronauts on the way to the moon. I mean, just that. I mean, we've all done Zoom interviews, but I think this will set a personal long distance.
Ultimate Zoom interview.
So,
They are totally mocking us. Look at these people. Do you think they actually believe what they're saying here?
I think this will set a personal long distance.
Ultimate Zoom interview.
So, right, yeah. I want to hear their impressions about what has surprised them, right? What have they most been struck by since they're the first people in more than 50 years to.
I don't care what surprises them. I don't care what struck them. I want to see video evidence of what they're doing. They have cameras. They have up-to-date technology. They can fix them outside the window to watch them in real time move away from the Earth and another camera moving toward the moon. That's what the American people want to see. Pulling this kind of crap, you're not doing a damn thing to address the concerns of those who don't believe one word NASA says. Think about it. You're the reason we have moon landing deniers. That was CBS. Check this out from NBC.
Tonight, new video of the Orion capsule with the moon off in the distance.
That's not a video. That's a picture.
No doubt where we are heading right now.
The crew well on their way, leaving Earth's orbit on Thursday thanks to a 6-minute boost. A move called a
more animation.
Translunar injection that requires 6,000 pounds of thrust.
Early reports that it was a very good burn.
The foursome of Artemis 2 in all of everything since Wednesday's launch.
Sending 4 humans 250,000 miles away is a Herculean effort, and we are now just realizing the gravity of that.
The team also snapping these never-before-seen images.
I really like it up here. I wish I could have got here sooner.
This afternoon, Mission Control woke up the crew with In a Daydream by the Freddie Jones Band.
It's really great to wake up this morning and look out the window and see the full moon.
And there was some minor housekeeping, a question about where to find a much-needed item.
We were wondering if we could get some help finding the electric shaver.
Orion's lunar flyby scheduled for Monday afternoon before a massive U-turn brings them back home again.
This is literally and symbolically our moonshot that we're in the middle of.
And liftoff. Meanwhile, what may be the best view yet of Wednesday's launch.
Good roll pitch.
Now, if it's true that these people are not heading to the moon, I said if it's true, where does that rocket go? Does it leave the atmosphere? Does it enter space? Does it do this huge arc and land somewhere else?
Roger, roll pitch. Captured by a NASA plane flying over the Space Coast.
It was a ride where you're trying to be professional, but the kid inside he wants to break out and just hoot and holler.
So what do you think about this? Is this all fake? Are they making everything up? Are they just playing their part?
Yeah, so many people playing a part in this, and then
Yep, I agree with that. So many people playing their part. All the world's a stage. Leave your thoughts about this for the world and the global thought police in the comments section below. If you want to support this channel, you can do it for free. Like this video, share this video, subscribe to
I watched Dixon and Green and it made me go insane. So I kidnapped a policeman king. Bacon was his name. Way deep in the woods amongst the branches and the brush, well, I hooked him to a tree with a chain in his handcuffs. I apologized and said you're gonna be fine. Please just relax and you will have a pleasant time. And soon the panic and the crying and cease. Cause I reassuringly said I'm a fan of the beside him said you must get some grief. With a last name like that, well, it must be Tom Keith. You know what cheers me up when I'm feeling blue? A lovely cup of tea and someone nice to talk to. Well, Pixie Bacon, he's a good judge of fun. And he can tell when I'm an upstanding bloke. He learned to pat me all when I shed tears. Let me clean on in his head and said yes. what we're left with is the morons and the shit. They want promotion, so they pucker up their lips and bend over and kiss the brass and lick the gaffer's pits. Special of the West End with impunity, like St. Jimmy Diddle, Samuel of the BBC. If you've got the crackers and you want a winning cause, every single judge out there is begging to be fought. Institutions are corrupt, man, and this one really stinks. We all turn a blind eye and keep on taking drinks. Check out the fucking uniform. What a way to dress. I hate the way it makes us look like wearing the SS. If you're from the ghetto, you're gonna get a slap. You wear a top-eye, they're gonna dump a cat. The more I wear the uniform, the more I can relate to the hatred on the faces of the fight for the estate. Reduce abuse of authority. If it's not where we'll leave them, it's a roll on the tree. Now, man, the way to get this madness to stop is if we kidnap the fat pig who sits at the top. You give him your tea and he'll say start to squeal. Bound psychopath and cover up and every dirty deal.
Clean the window here and do it according to the NASA specs. They also thankfully have dealt with and fixed the toilet issue, right? They had a malfunctioning brand new toilet on this Orion spaceship that nobody has been in before. No humans have traveled in before. So this is, in fact, a test flight. Just like a brand new car, you're trying to feel it out and you're trying to make sure you understand what is and isn't working, and maybe there's some issue that you need to resolve. All of that to say that on this mission day, they're going to spend it by doing some medical testing. Here and do it according to the NASA specs. And do it according to the NASA specs. They also thankfully have dealt with and fixed the toilet issue, right? They had a malfunctioning brand new toilet on this Orion spaceship that nobody has been in before. No humans have traveled in before. So this is, in fact, a test flight. Just like a brand new car, you're trying to feel it out and you're trying to make sure you understand what is and isn't working, and maybe there's some issue that you need to resolve. All of that to say that on this mission day, they're going to spend it by doing some medical testing. They're also going to be talking and training on how to do CPR in space in the event that there were a medical emergency for any crew in the future. Talking about working through all the procedures as well for flying by the moon. We expect that that will happen on Monday. They're already working
citizenry high above the Earth, beginning at an altitude of 1,000 miles and extending an additional 25,000 miles, lay lethal bands of radiation called the Van Allen radiation belts. Every space mission in history with humans on board, from both the United States and Soviet Union, from the first in 1961 to the present, has been well below this deadly radiation field. Mercury, Gemini, Soyuz, Skylab, the Space Shuttle, all maintained altitudes well below 1,000 miles, all except Apollo. The more experienced Soviets spent 100 hours in space for every 20 hours of the US. In order to survive the hour-and-a-half journey through this radiation field necessary to reach the moon and return, solid lead shielding between the astronauts and the exposure outside would be required. The mammoth Saturn V rocket used by Apollo was already 35 stories tall and weighed as much as a battleship. To add additional tonnage in the form of a lead barrier completely surrounding the crew members would have made it impossible for the vehicle to get off the ground. That is why the Soviets, though more advanced, only sent an unmanned probe to the moon. The Apollo spacecraft's narrowest shielding was less than 1/8 of an inch of light aluminum. In 1998, the Space Shuttle flew to an altitude of 350 miles, one of its highest altitudes ever, hundreds of miles below the beginning of a field of radiation that was so severe that the astronauts inside of their shielded spacecraft and inside of their shielded spacesuits saw flashes of light with their eyes shut that they described as shooting stars, due to radiation penetrating first the shuttle's shielding, then their spacesuit shielding, then their skulls, and finally the retinas of their closed eyes. As a result, CNN issued the following report noting NASA's unpredicted surprise. The radiation belt surrounding Earth may be more dangerous for spacewalking astronauts than previously believed. Scientists say the phenomena known as the Van Allen belts can spawn killer electrons when the Earth's magnetic field changes. These electrons that are being studied could have an important effect not only on satellites, which has happened in the past, but could also affect the astronauts by creating large doses of radiation that could influence their health. The electrons can penetrate through various materials, including spacesuits, and can pass through, in fact, the walls of the space station, and can create high charges deep inside of these objects. The letter is gone, probably airbrushed out on the moon. Here, the shadows are shown to be as auxiliary NASA archival site. It is clear that these scenes were lit with artificial light. These shadows, which are cast at different angles, are evidence that a second light source is being used. In addition, the sun would not cause an isolated hotspot like this, only an artificial light would. Again, intersecting shadows and another hotspot. And again. And again. It is simply impossible for this picture to have been taken with sunlight on the moon. Here, the shadows are shown to be as black as pitch. And yet here, completely in a shadow, the astronaut is lit up like a Christmas tree. How can this be? Or this, on the shadow side of the lunar module. In this magnification of an Apollo photograph, a rock, very likely a papier-mâché prop because of the crease here, is categorized with the letter C. In later releases of the same picture, the letter is gone, probably airbrushed out. Here, a crosshair, which was burned directly into the image from the film plate, and thus should always appear on top of the objects in the photograph, appears behind the object in this scene, clearly revealing a composite of two pictures into one. Someone apparently forgot to create a burn crater underneath the lunar module's 10,000-pound thrust engine, despite the fact that during ground tests there was a real concern for the vehicle falling into the hole the engine created as it descended. Here is a depiction based on the latest specifications and scientific data. In these enlargements, it looks as though the lunar module was simply placed there. Not even one speck of moon dust on the landing pod. As a result, all subsequent flights had to have the same discrepancy, which was explained away by the effect of no atmosphere. And what about stars? On the moon, with no atmosphere, they must have been quite a sight to behold. Yet there is seldom any mention of them, if ever, by any of the astronauts on any of the missions. Undoubtedly, creating a mural with all the constellations properly placed in the sky would have been virtually impossible to create accurately, much less realistically. A competent amateur astronomer would have been able to call attention to the slightest error in measurement. The answer? Not to talk about the stars. Ever. In their post-flight press conference, it was the only question to which Neil Armstrong responded with an absence of memory.
When you looked up at the sky, could you actually see the stars and the solar corona in spite of the glare?
We were never able to see stars from the lunar surface or on the daylight side of the moon by eye without looking through the optics. I don't recall during the period of time that we were photographing the solar corona what stars we could see.
I don't remember seeing any.
Years later, though, Michael Collins would remember seeing the elusive stars and wrote about them in Expeditions to the Moon. It seems his memory improved the older he got. Why don't stars appear in any of the photographs? Simply because the proper, mostly closed exposure setting for the camera's iris, set that way to compensate for the bright sunlight on the moon's surface, completely diminished the faintness of relatively distant specks of diminutive light. This answer is true. It does not, however, explain why they never took any pictures of the stars by themselves, with an exposure setting perfect for them. While they took 3 automobiles to the moon, they never took a photographic telescope. Had they done so, they would have been able to see farther into the universe than had ever before been realized. If they had taken a telescope and were not actually on the moon, they would have had to concoct undiscovered galaxies that might one day prove to be non-existent. The cost of the 3 moon rovers in 21st century currency? Nearly $60 million each, though they had fewer parts than a Jeep. Where was all this money going? Then there's the flag, blowing in the wind, at least twice, on the atmosphereless moon. We can only guess that most of the missions were staged inside, for fear of possible aerial or satellite reconnaissance from an unfriendly nation. The backpacks, designed for 1/6 gravity, must have had the cooling systems removed to allow for movement without falling over. With very near and hot studio lighting, that left one hot astronaut inside. Assuming that it was the astronauts inside after all, their faces were always covered. The necessary mammoth amounts of air conditioning were probably responsible for the air current. Here the editor cuts to a still shot. Apollo 13. Now the public would take going to the moon more seriously and be reconnected with the drama. We now realize that perhaps the reason Neil Armstrong has never given an on-camera interview is because he doesn't want to lie anymore. What threats may have been made upon such honorable men or their families to possess their reluctant cooperation and later ill feelings toward perpetuating this still darkened hour in American history? NASA's highest-ranking official, James Webb, resigned without explanation just days before the first Apollo mission. Why, when he was on the threshold of achieving the greatest accomplishment of his career? All 3 Apollo 11 astronauts also resigned shortly after their return. On the 25th anniversary of the event in 1994, Neil Armstrong made a rare public appearance and held back tears as he spoke these brief cryptic remarks before the next generation of taxpayers as they toured the White House.
Today we have with us a group of students among America's best. To you we say, we have only completed a beginning. We leave you much that is undone. There are great ideas undiscovered, breakthroughs available to those who can remove one of truth's protective layers.
He is that layer. Perhaps someday soon, with the uncovering of this footage and its meaning, the true patriots of America will rise up or come forward and free the citizens and themselves from the sin that so easily entangles and from a federal government that needs to have the gangrene cut off. Even if the government's destruction would come from the truth, then it is not worthy to stand, and its betterment would inevitably follow. All of us are mortal. All of us will die. Perhaps the seeking of a clear conscience before that hour will motivate the truth into the light. Perhaps as citizens we should offer amnesty for this and other crimes of history, for facts from those involved before the truth perishes with them. Why must we wait until the year 2017 to open the Kennedy assassination files? Perhaps they will not even be opened then.
ready answers. Our first question is, do you assume man has landed on the moon? If your answer is no, then this video will surprise you. If you do not take for granted that men have in actuality flown to and landed upon the moon and then flown back to Earth safely, then you are a true skeptic, and you will appreciate this video's powers of rational questioning, its scientific show-me, prove-it style. It's both unexpected and refreshing. On the other hand, if you answer yes to the question, have men actually flown to and landed upon the moon and so forth, then this video may irritate and annoy you. The handheld camera shots are not Hollywood lighted and not pre-staged. They are raw, ill-lighted, and shot under the glare of federal officials and their guards whose eyes, in some cases, blaze with hatred and contempt and the urge to arrest and officially punish. So we apologize in advance for a lack of slickness. In fact, roughness is the form true investigations and evidence usually takes. Evidence is neither huge nor glaring, and it can be small and hidden and difficult to see. And often, as you will see in this video, evidence of government lies are kept from the public's eyes behind wires, stone walls, and gates of secrecy. So instead of looking for the slickness that professional image makers have taught us to believe is truth, look instead and listen to a video that does not attempt to form your thoughts and control your thinking. This is a video that provokes your thought. It asks the unaskable questions and does not take governmental answers as gospel. So if your answer is no, I am in doubt about a man on the moon, then here's some of the evidence that you may wonder about. And for you who say, yes, I saw the moonwalk on TV, we simply ask that you suspend your annoyance with our improper questions while you see this video to its conclusion.
Hello, my name is Jim Collier. I'm an investigative reporter, and this is an open letter to Frank Hughes. Frank Hughes is the man in charge of astronaut training at Johnson Space Center in Houston. He trains the astronauts now, and Frank, you trained them back in 1969 through 72 in the Apollo mission, so you were the expert that I got when I called NASA and spoke to Audrey Schwartz in the press department and said, I need an expert to answer some questions, and you've been very kind in answering. But here is the entire problem, or as much as I can get into this 2-hour tape. What happened was, is a man named Ralph Renee came to me several years ago with a manuscript for a book called A Funny Thing Happened on the Way to the Moon. And he was a physicist who had studied, a self-styled physicist, I guess the press will call him after this, but he knows his physics really well. And I was incredulous, like most people, that we didn't go to the moon. And I started investigating him. And then I found out that he got his information, or a lot of it, from a man named Bill Kaysing, who worked for Rocketdyne as a man who wrote scientific papers for the scientists, and he had a gray pass, which meant he could go anywhere and see anything. And he saw a lot of propulsion experiments, etc. And he wrote a book called We Never Went to the Moon.
Astronaut James Lovell of Apollo 13 called Kaysing a wacko for claiming we never went to the moon. Kaysing, who's been investigating NASA for 20 years, is suing Lovell for libel. The trial takes place October 7th in Santa Cruz, California. Kaysing analyzed NASA photos and came to the conclusion they were all taken on Earth. The results have been printed in media around the world. Notice the upper right-hand corner of this photo. It was supposed to have been taken on the moon, yet the ceiling beams are clearly evident. Here's a close-up of those beams. In January 1997, London-based Fortean Times printed an analysis of NASA's film footage by award-winning British cinematographer David Percy. Percy came to the same conclusion as Bill Kaysing. All the photos were faked. Both based their conclusions on shadows running in the wrong direction or running in two directions at once, indicating spotlights were used. The sun also appears to be originating from a spotlight, as there is a halo around it. There can be no halo where there is no atmosphere. Percy is doing a BBC documentary on all this, and it will appear in London and around the world sometime this year. He's an award-winning cinematographer who is writing a book called Whistleblowers, and it should be out in 1997. This famous shot is in almost every NASA book. You can see in the faceplate that the astronaut taking the photo of this astronaut has no camera, and the camera is shooting down on the head of the astronaut, making the camera at least 8 feet high. That's impossible. They were both on level ground in front of the spaceship. This famous shot is filled with anomalies, including tracks on the moon's surface. You can see the antenna on top of the crosshair, and the crosshair is etched into the camera. It couldn't be there. And just above this crosshair, the picture is airbrushed out. This famous rock has a Roman numeral C on it. Could not happen. And it also appears to be sculpted or paper mache'd. How can you have a round rock where there's no atmosphere, wind, rain to round that rock?
So I went to investigate the LEM, that strange contraption that supposedly landed them on the moon. It never flew on Earth. Frank, it never flew on Earth. So I said, well, who invented this thing? I went to Grumman Aircraft. And they're in Bethpage, Long Island, and I said, give me all the material that showed how this was developed, what thought went into it. And so when it crashed on Earth and never flew once, I said to myself, why would the astronauts' wives let them go to the moon and test it out there? I mean, you'd have to be wacko to do that. And a funny thing happened, Frank. They told me all the paperwork had been destroyed, that all they had was some PR pieces, a couple of photos, not even photos, they had drawings. I found that incredible. You spent $30 billion to go to the moon, and all the paperwork's been flushed down the toilet. So I went to the archives in Washington, and I went to the archives at NASA, and I went to you. There's no paperwork. The man who invented the LEM should have won the Nobel Prize. His paperwork on what made him think this would work should be in every museum that NASA has, but it's nowhere. And so the taxpayers spent $30 billion, Frank, on what half the world thinks is a hoax.
This is the lunar module falling freely toward the moon.
Okay, Jim, it was a little rush, but we got it done. Right here, 5 Jim, and we're sailing free. One.
This is a video that will ask you to take nothing for granted. It will ask questions to which you may assume you have ready answers. Our first question is, do you assume man has landed on the moon? If your answer is no, then this video will surprise you. If you do not take for granted that men have in actuality flown to and landed upon the moon and then flown back to Earth safely, then you are a true skeptic, and you will appreciate this video's powers of rational questioning, its scientific show-me, prove-it style. It's both unexpected and refreshing. On the other hand, if you answer yes to the question, have men actually flown to and landed upon the moon and so forth, then this video may irritate and annoy you. The handheld camera shots are not Hollywood lighted and not pre-staged. They are raw, ill-lighted, and shot under the glare of federal officials and their guards whose eyes, in some cases, blaze with hatred and contempt and the urge to arrest and officially punish. So we apologize in advance for a lack of slickness. In fact, roughness is the form true investigations and evidence usually takes. Evidence is neither huge nor glaring, and it can be small and hidden and difficult to see. And often, as you will see in this video, evidence of government lies are kept from the public's eyes behind wires, stone walls, and gates of secrecy. So instead of looking for the slickness that professional image makers have taught us to believe is truth, look instead and listen to a video that does not attempt to form your thoughts and control your thinking. This is a video that provokes your thought. It asks the unaskable questions and does not take governmental answers as gospel. So,
Fucking hell, John, fucking hell, fucking hell, John, fucking hell, John, fucking hell, fucking hell, fucking hell, John, fucking hell, John, fucking hell, John, fucking hell, fucking hell, fucking hell, John, fucking hell, John, fucking hell, John, fucking hell, fucking hell, fucking hell, John, fucking hell, John, fucking hell, John, fucking hell, John. What's the fucking box? Fucking hell, John. What's up down the shops? Fucking line, I need the mop. Fucking hell, John. It fucking never stops. Hell, John. Sweep the fucking floor. Hell, John. Fucking the ends of the door. Hell, John. Do the fucking dusting. Get me the fucking red back as a fucking prince of busting. Hell, John. Fucking 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 Uber off! Fucking hell, John! This fuck only be caught! Fucking hell, John! We're on the fucking dock! Fucking hell, John! I fucking disinfect the fucking bar! Fucking hell, John! Let it fucking breeze in! Fucking hell, John! Fucking know that much I'm freezing! Fucking hell, John! Start the fucking fire! And don't forget to throw the fucking life that's in the dryer! Fucking hell, John! 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 Make the fucking bed! cigarette. You know what's in my ear till I fucking down the laundrette. Bear the fucking talk. Fucking give me back a scrum. Where's me fucking growth? Throw your fucking nigger down the pub. Fucking put that like guitar. Fucking what's the fucking car? Fucking to the fucking bar. Fucking it's fucking time to get me dressed. Fucking knickers out of mess. Fucking socks out of shit. Fucking jumper, fucking galley. Fucking slippers, fucking scared. Fucking one of the plans. I'm fucking Jamie fucking pounds. Me fucking body's dripping out on these fucking wilted fucking socks. I'm fucking slipping. Fucking get the table laid. Fucking get me hearing aids. I've got a fucking pressure sore. You'll have to fucking move me cause it's fucking feeling wrong. Get me in me fucking seat. Cause it's fucking time to eat. You call this fucking I'm gonna need me fucking teeth. Behind this fucking chewy beef. It's only fucking tender. I throw me fucking dentures to the fucker in the blender. The fucking telly is a right. The fucking tweakers are right. Fucking get a fucking stunner. Get on the fucking light away. All that color. Now fucking fuck around the back. Fucking dominate the work. I fucking swing the fucking yard. The fucking Al John. Where the fuck's your credit card?
Fucking Al John. Fucking Al. Fucking Al John. Fucking Al John. Fucking Al. Fucking Al. Fucking Al John. Fucking Al. Fucking Al John. Fucking Al John. Fucking Al. Fucking Al. Fucking Al John. Fucking Al. Fucking Al John. Fucking Al John. Fucking Al. Fucking Al. Fucking Al John. Fucking Al. Fucking Al John. Fucking Al John. Fucking Al. Fucking Al John.